Hi, and welcome to Section 5, Collisions, Sound, and End Conditions, making the game playable. In this section, we will start with preparing and drawing the player and other sprites. Then we will move to handling the player's input and death. At the end, we will take a look at simple sound effects and improving the game and the code. Now let's start with the first video of this section, preparing and drawing the player and other sprites. In this video, we are going to take a look at the code to prepare and draw the player, as well as other sprites such as axe, gravestone, log, etc. Let's add the code for the player's sprite, as well as a few more sprites and textures at the same time. This next quite large block of code also adds a gravestone sprite for when the player gets squished, an axe sprite to chop with, and a log sprite that can whiz away each time the player chops. Add this block of code just before the while window is open, code as we have done so often before. First, we create an object of type texture called texture player. Then we load a graphic into texture from player.png graphics file. Then we declare an object of type sprite called sprite player. Next, we associate text player with sprite player. Finally, we set the position of the player using coordinates 580 and 720. Notice that after the sprite player object, we also declare a side variable, player's side, to keep track of where the player is currently standing. This means player is currently standing on left. Preparing the gravestone is similar to preparing the player. First, we create an object of type texture called texture RIP. Then we load a graphic from RIP PNG graphics file. Next, we create an object called sprite RIP and associate texture RIP and sprite RIP. And lastly, we set the position of the gravestone. For preparing axe, we create texture axe, load the axe graphics, create sprite axe, and after associating it with texture axe, set the position of axe. The sprite axe also has two related float constant variables to remember where the ideal pixel position is on both the left and the right. Just as we have prepared the player, gravestone, and axe, we prepare the flying log. Furthermore, we add some extra variables for sprite log object, including log speed x, log speed y, and log active. Log active shows whether it is currently moving or not. Log speed x and log speed y will decide how fast the log will move. Now we can draw all our new sprites. Before we add the code to move the player and use all our new sprites, let's draw them. Try this so that, as we add code to update, change, move the sprites, we will be able to see what is happening. Add this highlighted code to draw the four new sprites, which are sprite player, axe, flying log, and gravestone. Now run the game and you will see our new sprites in the scene. Wow! We are really close to a working game now. In this video, we have learned preparing and drawing the player and other sprites. Cool! In the next video, we'll take a look at handling player's input.